Hey, what's up, everyone? My name's Lionel. I'm your host for LT Productions, and you are watching I Watch You Watch. We are covering Zatima, currently in season 3, episodes 3 and 4. I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Please like this video and also subscribe to my channel, and you can leave your comments below. I apologize for being late. Last week we did experience hurricane weather. We didn't get the worst of it down here. I'm in South Florida, but we did get tornadoes that are pretty close to me, about 5 to 10 minutes away from me. So I'm behind. I'm trying to catch up. I'm doing these episodes, and soon, at least later tonight, you'll get episodes 5 and 6. So let's get into these episodes. So we start off where we ended off last episode, where we just see an image of Fatima saying, ish, about, and we see Zach's picture there, smiling. And we're like, okay, so what? Why would she do that? Because she was expecting for Zach to come home. We find out that the whole gang is there, including Belinda, and they're talking with Zach. Zach is like, well, what's going on? Fatima greets them outside, or greets Zach outside. And Nathan is wanting to tell Zach what happened. And Fatima's like, we're good. There's nothing to tell. Da 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 da. Tony and also that girl, Zach's ex, what's her name? C. It starts with a C. Connie. It's like, no, Nathan. No. And Nathan's like, no, we need to tell. And Fatima's like, we got this. There's nothing to tell. Da 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 da. Fatima sees Belinda and saying, what are you doing here? I'm trying to be here for you. Da 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 da. And Fatima's like, go on, girl. Angela is kind of being mediator, saying everything's fine. Da 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 da. Zach goes inside by Fatima's encouragement, and Fatima and Nathan have a conversation. Nathan's like, we need to tell Zach. You know, he hit you. And Fatima's like, no, he didn't. You are trying to say something that did not happen. Fatima, you know something happened to you. We need to tell him. I really know. We as his boys, we should tell him. And he's like, why is this girl trying to act like he knows her more than we do? And Fatima's like, are you effing him? I know him. I know what he can handle and all of that. Finally, Tony and Connie got him to calm down and just say, hey, we'll tell him another time, just to get him out of there, out of that situation. Because Fatima's like, look, we don't want anything that bad to happen to Zach. So let's leave it there. So y'all leave and take that thing with you, meaning Belinda. So they finally leave. Fatima goes back into the house. Zach is supposed to be in the bathtub, and she's like, hey, you're supposed to be in the tub. And he's sitting at the edge. You can see that he's got a lot of weight on his shoulders right now. And he's like, I'm going to get in there. You know, I still got to handle this money situation. I got to handle the funeral for my mom. Why did they come over here? And Fatima's like, I'm not for sure, but I got them to leave right now. Everything's going to be okay. I just want you to relax. I've put enough Epsom salts in there for your body to relax. Da 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 da. They get on the funeral. You know, I gotta plan it, and she was like, you know, I could really help in this situation. You know what color her favorite color is? Zach didn't even know that. And Fatima was like, hey, well, look, you didn't have that type of upbringing where you would know that type of situation, so don't be hard on yourself. They talk about the whole money situation. No, we talk about that soon. But she convinces him to get in the tub, and he asks, are you going to come in with me? And Fatima says, I might get in there and start it up, blah, 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 blah. So she goes downstairs. She calls Connie and says, hey, you know, can you tell me what was Miss Gladys's favorite color? It was purple. Connie was first trying to say, Zach, don't be calling my phone. You have a good woman. Don't mess this good thing up, blah, 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 blah. And then Fatima's like, no, this is me, da da da. Then she asked about the whole Gladys favorite color situation. Da, 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 da. Connie was like, well, I think that we're going to be good friends. And Fatima was like, what are you talking about? No, I'm good peoples, we're going to be real good tight. And Fatima was like, whatever. She did ask Connie, like, how did you find out about the whole Jeremiah situation? Jeremiah was going around saying it, and we put two and two together. She asked Connie to please, can you tell Jeremiah to chill out, don't say anything else and all that? And she said, yes, I'll do that. I'll hold things down. She gets off the phone with Connie, and Cowboy comes over. He would like to speak to Zach. Fatima first thought that he's possibly resting and sleeping. Zach comes downstairs and said, oh, no, I'm up and all that. And he asks you, Fatima, like, what was she doing? She's like, oh, I'm just studying right now. And he asks, you want me to help? He's like, I know you know about the law, but hey, no. So Cowboy and Zach, they talk about the whole business proposition for the building in regards to what Bryce effed up. He talks about, this is a really good deal. Zach, da-da-da-da-da. And he was like, well, did Bryce tell you to come over here and say something? And Preston was like, no, I did my own study. And he said, look, this is what I'm willing to do. I'm willing to be an investor. And here's $3 million. And Zach was like, where you get this money from? And he said, don't worry about it. Like, but you walk around here in jeans and hats and this truck. I mean, he's like, well, does Danny know? And he said, no. So then he cues for Fatima to come out here because now he's relieved and is ready to celebrate. And he says, guess what, Fatima? He's investing in the business for the buildings. And he gave me $3 million. Look at this check. Because first Zach was questioning, like, is this a real check? Da, 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 da. And he's like, yeah, it is. Fatima looks at it and says, did Danny know that you have all this money? No. So they were happy about that. We switch over to, I don't know what you call them, Belinda and Nathan. They're having hate sex. So they get done, and Belinda was trying to push Nathan to call Zach to let him know. Nathan's like, why you keep trying to push me to do this? I'm my own grown man. She's like, well, you don't look like you're your own grown man. You're getting them to tell you to stop. Call them. Belinda has this whole idea of really want to start drama. You need to call Zach. We don't want you to mess up your friendship with Zach. So Nathan doesn't, and Belinda ends up kicking him out. Bryce. Oh, well, let's go to Angie. Angie is having sex with Sean, and he's asking or telling her to say his name, and she starts calling other people's names. That stops the mood and basically, quit playing with me. He wants more, and she's really being disrespectful and just saying, look, you are just a piece of dick, and I only call you when my kitty is purring. That's like, he's like, I really like you. You don't really like me like that? No. So in the midst of all that, Bryce comes by. And she says, Bryce, I'm in the middle of something. I have somebody over, and my cat is in need of something. We were together. Yeah, we were together. That's over. What's going on, Bryce? I really effed up. My family, my dad thinks that I'm a real mess up. I really messed up, and now you don't want me. You don't even want to talk to me. And Angela's trying to calm him down. We really see him crash out. He gets into his car, drives off, and he ends up crashing into another car. I said, Lord, Bryce, we didn't know it was that bad. Preston and Fatima was encouraging him, Zach, to tell Bryce about, the whole situation. And he said, no. He let me sweat, be stressed out. He gonna wait. All that good stuff. So Sean helps Angela pull Bryce's body out of the car. The car is about to explode. The car ended up exploding, and that was the end of the episode. Now to get on to episode 4, we start off with Bryce. He's still in very critical condition. They get him to the doctors and all that. The next morning, Fatima is up, I think. Or something. No, Fatima's sleeping. And Zach is in bed and he's staring at her. And she wakes up to breakfast in bed. It's getting cold and all that. And she starts to eat. He loves to watch her sleep and all that good stuff. And he asks, she asks, did he get any sleep? And he said, yeah, I got some sleep. And she said, good. They reflect on Preston giving the money. And he says, I'm glad that this stress is off of me. And Fatima says, I did see stress. And he recounts when he didn't have money and Karen was all on his head. The sister circle was on, saying, why are you with him, blah, 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 blah. And he said he never wanted to be in that spot again where he didn't have the means and all that. And Fatima's like, well, that's over. You're with me now. And he said, well, so you don't mind me not having no money? He said, if you don't have it, I'm still cool. And she said, but you would prefer that I did have some money. I mean, hey, come on. Fatima tries to talk Zach into telling Bryce, and he said, no, not right now. I'm gonna let him sweat this thing out. We see Belinda and Nathan going at it again. Hate sex, and then at least saying all these nasty things to each other. So then she kicks Nathan out again. And said, look, I'm leaving this house and nobody's staying up in my house. Da, 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 da. She gets a call from Angela saying, hey, Bryce is in the hospital. She's like, who? Bryce, the last person that was my dude. She said, oh, okay, I'll come up to the hospital. And then, of course, when she gets off the phone, I'm like, is that the one that likes DICK? Oh, I hope it's not. Anyways, so she goes up to the hospital. Sean is there. Sean was like, I want to be there for you, but I know I got to go to my job. And Angela's like, I'm not stopping you. You can go, blah, 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 blah. And he finally leaves. He's trying to be something that Angela doesn't want him to be, unfortunately. Belinda comes, and they talk a little bit. You can tell that Belinda's not really into Angela's problem, but she still wants to be there for her girl. They talk a little bit about, Bryce, it sounds like you really care for this man. Why are you staying up here with him like that? And she's looking kind of perplexed. Angie is, and she's like, I don't understand why you staying up here and he likes DICK. You better do something else, da 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 da. I gotta go to work and you gotta go to work. We switch over to the barbershop. Tony is cutting the old man's head, which I thought was his dad. But now this season it's Mr. Whoever it is. They're sitting up here arguing about Zach without saying his name. They want to give the scenario and the theory and to help them figure out. Because Nathan said, we need to tell him. And Tony said, no, let's trust Fatima, blah, 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 but in code. And they end up telling the older man, which I thought was his barbershop, whatever, about the whole situation, and then they ended up figuring out that this is Zach. And they said, I would tell, because ain't no man gonna be hitting on my lady, da 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 da. Fatima goes and visits Connie, and Connie was like, look, have you seen Jeremiah around here? Because we gotta really lock this down. All of a sudden, Zach pulls up, and they're trying to have some type of conversation like, hey, yeah, about Miss Gladys. And Zach was like, what are you doing here? Then we end the episode. It's really boiling up to a situation. If you're on Twitter, possibly on Facebook, they didn't already leak stuff, which I really hated. Like, we understood where the story was going, but let us go on the journey, y'all. Like, let's stop this. But I'm in anticipation. It looks like episodes 5 and 6 are going to be yeah, 5 and 6 are going to be pretty good. I'll have those for you later on today. But I appreciate everyone for coming to my channel. Like this video, subscribe, and also comment, and you can share. Until the next one, peace.